Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Obviously this one is gonna be a little bit different. So yeah, as you can see, I'm holding the camera while I'll be talking about my new setup that I basically built around the Strymon Iridum, which is this pedal right here. So I'm gonna tell you what pedals made the cut, which didn't, and there are a few that I still want to get on the board, but more on that later. So let's keep it simple. I'll explain the signal chain. So this is my guitar, my Fender Strat, and we're going straight from that into the Carl Martin compressor. And when it comes to the settings on the Carl Martin, they're kind of different than I had with the Pod Go. I'm doing a bit less compression here than I did with the Pod Go, but for the most time I'm using channel 1 only. Channel 2 here, if you see the controls, the left one is channel 1, the right one is obviously channel 2. So I'm using the left one like 90% of the time, but if I need a boost, I can switch the channel, and with that I have more level but less compression. The threshold and the response are shared for both channels. The threshold is set around 2 o'clock and the response is around 10 o'clock. So it's acting more like a standard compressor than it is limiting the guitar signal. It's actually not doing a lot. But then again, this is the pedal that I feel that has become a major part of my sound with this type of equipment. Okay, from the Carl Martin compressor, I'm going into the EHX silencer, which I'm currently not using a lot, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I have it set fairly, I would say gentle, so it's not hard gating. I'm only using this when I turn on the fuzz, and especially, well, I play the fuzz on the bridge pickup, which is a single coil, because I always split the humbucker on this guitar. Then it gets noisy when I turn on the big muff. So yeah, silencer is primarily used then when I turn on the fuzz, and but it's a great pedal, and a friend of mine told me that it works even better if you utilize the FX loop. I think I will get into that when I have more pedals that are noisy. And then from the silencer, I'm going into the EHX Big Muff. You can see the settings here, so there's very little sustain here because, I don't know, I feel that just raising it above 0 to around, I don't know, less than 9 o'clock, it's enough for me, enough for my Strat. It brings all that sweet fatness and fuzz and sustain that we love from a pedal like this. After the fuzz, I'm going into the East River Drive, again by Electro Harmonics, and I feel that getting this pedal was one of the best decisions I made this year. Well, except for the Strymon, I think, but these two together work amazing. The reason why I went with East River Drive as well, I watch a lot of YouTube demos, and I heard that this pedal is in a lot of scenarios completely undistinguishable from the Tube Screamer. So yeah, and it costs half the price of the Tube Screamer. So I went with the East River Drive, and again you can see the settings. I'm not really pushing the drive, and I have the volume and tone controls around 6. Okay, from the East River Drive, finally we go into the Strymon Iridum, and I'm going into the input of Strymon Iridum here. So for the most part, I think for a month and a half now, I've been using the round amp model, which is modeling the Fender Deluxe Reverb. The only thing worth noting here is that I'm not using the factory cabinets. I did like the factory cabinet C, I believe, from the Strymon selection, which was a 2x12 Vibrolux, if I'm not mistaken. But with this setup, I'm using the York Audio impulse responses, which have been my go-to for, I don't know, almost 2 years now, I think. And I'm using the 1x10 Princeton cabinet with a U47 as a microphone because I don't know, it sounds just right. Also, on the Strymon, I have the medium room reverb selected, and this was maxed out for the last 2 videos I did, but usually that's somewhere around, I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock. I really like how the room reverb was approached by my Strymon here, and it really brings up the realism part that we often discuss when we talk digital versus analog, but this thing is kind of unique because it's both, and I'm basically really happy how this sounds and how it reacts to all the different pedals in front of it. Okay, so you've probably guessed it, the mono part of the signal ended when I went from the East River to the Strymon, and from there I'm all stereo, and I'm also going into this electro-harmonics pedal, one more pedal from EHX here, and that's the Ocean 12. And I haven't been using this one as much as I did with my previous setup with the Pod Go, but I really like how the plate combines with this room reverb right here. So I'll definitely be keeping this Ocean 12 on the board because it also has an echo, which means that I have a delay here and a reverb. So yeah, that's kind of 2 things that I would normally use in one pedal. Okay, I just want to tell you what else I got planned for this board. This is a Hermit Zendrive clone by Alex C. He's a pedal builder from Croatia, and I was really happy how this pedal sounded with the Pod Go, and I'm really happy how this pedal sounds with the Strymon Iridum. So I'll definitely be putting this one back on the board soon. Also, the Pitchfork Plus has been one of the most exciting and one of the most fun pedals to have here. I don't usually pitch shift, I play in E standard mostly, but sometimes it just feels right to drop something down an octave or up an octave, or both together, which is definitely a possibility with the Pitchfork Plus. And on a few occasions I will probably find myself that I need to track something in E flat, so this will probably come in handy. And I would definitely use this Pitchfork Plus together with this dual momentary foot switch to switch between presets up and down, which is great. And now finally the stuff that didn't make the cut. Unfortunately, that's the Modrex from EHX. This is probably named right. It is the king of modulation because it can do vibrato, flanger, chorus, phasing, tremolo, and panning, and all that stuff. But honestly, for me, this is too big for what I would use it, and that would probably be just a chorus or just a tremolo. So I will definitely keep this one around the studio when I need it, but for this board right here, it felt a bit unnecessary, and it definitely felt a bit too big. And the very last thing that I have to say is that the Grand Canyon, again by Electro-Harmonix, did not make the cut. And to be completely honest, it's not because it sounds bad. It's because I want my delays to remain in stereo. However, or better to say, I want my signal to remain in stereo after the Iridium. But this pedal has only a mono input. It has a stereo output, which is great, but it has a mono input, so I would have to sum down the signal from the Strymon to be mono inside the Grand Canyon. And given how great the Strymon sounds in stereo, I simply will not do that. But I'll definitely keep this pedal too in the studio because I, again, really like how it sounds, but it's just this damn OCD that will not allow me to use it because I will not sum down my signal to mono. I need to keep it in stereo because I forgot to tell you I'm going finally from the EHX Ocean 12 into the stereo line inputs in the back of my Scarlett 6i6, and that's how I record into Reaper. Anyway, that's it. I think I said what I wanted to say. I could talk probably more about the other amp models from the Strymon and about how this whole thing works together, but you can hear some of the sound examples already on my YouTube channel. I'll be posting a lot more of these, so if you want to know how this will sound and how these pedals will react with the Strymon, then I don't know, you can subscribe to the channel and you can leave a like on this video if you like people talking about gear for no particular reason at all. I'll see you also.